Hello, welcome back everybody. If you have seen the title of the video, then you know exactly what is happening here. I'm deciding to put out a deck profile, not waiting till the last minute, a couple hours before my local to do it. I just got done with playtesting and decided this is what I wanted to run. I have resurrected an old favorite of mine. This deck is really nostalgic for me because this is the first deck that I ever built and brought to a tournament. This is Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, and I'm really excited to play this. I don't expect to do too well in the tournament because it's Chaos Max. There's not too much you can expect from it, but just going in there and having fun with it is going to be great. So let's just get right into it. Of course, this is Chaos Max Dragon, so you do, of course, have to play 3 of those. I understand if you don't want to do as many, but you want to increase your chances of seeing it, being able to search it, and just being able to go into multiples is really good because it's really hard to out. Much like a lot of cards in today in Yu-Gi-Oh!, this can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. Not to mention it has a starting body of 4,000 attacks, so this is not easy to out. So having 3 of these is just really important. And then, of course, its junior version, Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon. This one is essentially Baby Chaos Max. It's got a 3K body, same thing, can't be targeted, can't be destroyed. But the reason you run this is because if you can get both of these out and your opponent has multiple monsters on the field, you essentially win the game. Because when this attacks, it changes the battle position of all your opponent's monsters and makes their attack and defense permanently 0. So when you do that, this already deals piercing, but for those of you that don't know, all 2 of you maybe, because you probably know what this card does, this card deals double piercing. Not just piercing, double piercing. So if you attack into something with 0 defense, that is 8,000 points of damage, and that's usually where Chaos Max ends up going. I have a few other ways to facilitate that, but running those at the ratios that I do is the reason I do that. You only really want 1 or 2 Chaos Dragon because Chaos Max is the point. It's really just if you can't go into Chaos Max or if you're able to go into both and then just put games away. This is, of course, a little bit of a Blue Eyes deck, so you do have to run some Blue Eyes. I'm only running 2 Blue Eyes and the 1 alternative. I understand why Chaos Max decks play 3 Blue Eyes, but more often than not, it just ends up being a bad brick. So I wanted to make some space for some other stuff, so I just ended up running only 2 Blue Eyes. If you draw it, it's okay. There's ways to summon Chaos Max from your hand, or sending a Blue Eyes from your hand. We have ritual spells for that. And then just only one alternative, because the point isn't to go to alternative. Alternative's just in here just because, yeah, you can use it for a ritual summon, but also if you can bring it out with Blue Eyes, it can just pop a card on the field. That doesn't end up coming up too much. I just put one in here because, just options. You need as many options as you can get with Chaos Max. And then I am running the Incantation engine. I am not running the Drytron variant because I am not a degenerate bastard. I just did this because Incantations are far more nostalgic, and I just wanted to keep it much more simple and not go the Drytron route. So for Incantations, we were running 2 Talismandra, that's the monster one, 2 Candle, that's the spell one, 1 Bookstone, that's the spell recursion from Grave one, and then the 1 Pensaplume, that's the monster recursion from Grave one. And then to also facilitate those, I'm running 2 Chalice Slime. I'm running these at the ratios I am just because I feel like this is what works the best. Most of these are 2-card combos. And then if you just draw in a Chalice Slime, you can summon them, one of them from the deck, and it just ends up working like that. I feel this engine works the best. The entire point is to try to make this deck as consistent as possible because you need as much help in that department as you can, and I just feel like this ratio ends up working out the best with the playtests I've been doing with it. It's not going to be perfect. It's Chaos Max, but I mean, this is just what I'm choosing to run with. Pretty much the only normal summon I have in the deck, I'm running 3 Manju. This is a ritual deck. Running 3 Manju makes sense. I understand why people have cut this down, because yeah, it sucks if this gets normal summon and then they ash it or they imperm it or worse, they gamma it. But it's Chaos Max. You need as much help as you can get. If this can eat a negate and you have other stuff that you can do in your hand, then that's good. you just need as much as you can get with Chaos Max, and Manju helps to facilitate that. Plus, it can help to unbrick your hand. Like, if you have an incantation in your hand and no other ritual spell or monster to facilitate that, Manju can help out with that. And then for the last of the monsters, I am running 2 Ash Blossom. The reason I'm not running 3 is because I just had to make space for some other stuff, so I had to cut down Ash to 2. That's pretty much it. I had to make space for some other stuff for some of the other engines that I'm running, as well as some of the other disruption I chose to go with. On to the spells. I'm running 2 Advanced Ritual Art and 2 Chaos Form. It's Ritual, it's Chaos Max. I feel like these work the best. This one can end up being better because you can send a Blue Eyes from the deck to the grave to Ritual Summon Chaos Max or Chaos Dragon. The problem with this is once they catch on, they can Ash it because you're sending from the deck. So more often than not, if you can use this, go with this. I would just only avoid this if you can summon Chaos Dragon as well as Chaos Max, because in order for Chaos Dragon to have its full potential, you have to Ritual Summon it with Blue Eyes specifically. So both these are situational. Either of them are good. I feel like these ratios work the best. Plus, I just want to make some space for some other stuff. That just ended up working out. This is still a Blue Eyes variant, so 3 Melody of Awakening Dragon. It sucks when this gets ashed because it's the same as ashing a Signet Mining. You just go -2, but you have to help out with consistency with Chaos Max. If you need to search out, 2 Chaos Max or a Chaos Max and a Chaos Dragon, or if you want to do plays with alternative White Dragon, this is just too good to run. Yeah, it sucks if it gets hit, but you have to run it with to help with the consistency. Speaking with helping with the consistency, 3 Pot of Extravagance. I honestly don't really find myself using the extra deck in this. The extra deck's not the point. Plus, if you didn't know, while the Incantations are on the field, you are locked out of your own extra deck. So more often than not, you just straight up don't need it. So this card is just a Pot of Greed for the deck. The reason I'm running this instead of Pot of Prosperity is because sentences, tripping over them. The section in Pot of Prosperity that says halves all their damage, that's really bad. The point of Chaos Max is to hopefully kill them while dealing double piercing, if not do as much damage as possible. So their damage, your opponent's damage being halved is just really, really bad. So this is just going to be infinitely better. I really don't think cards like Pot of Desires would be good because there's too much you want to keep in here. If you end up banishing your ritual spells or all of your Blue Eyes, then you just straight up can't summon it. So this ends up being the best because there's really nothing in the extra deck you use. The extra deck is just, if you can go into things, because the Incantations really hurt you with that. They lock you out of it, and there's just almost nothing in there that you need. Another thing I'm running is 2 Shin Spy. The reason I'm doing this instead of Creature Swap is because, I don't really need an opponent's monster from it. Plus, just temporarily giving them an incantation, I feel is just better. Not to mention the main reason overall is, what happens if you're up against a back row deck going second. Eltlage sets 5 and passes, and then you draw into the Incantation Engine and Shin Spy, or you draw into an Incantation Engine and Creature Swap. Your opponent has to have a monster for that to resolve. So if they don't have a monster, you can't give them the Incantation and attack for game. So that's why I have Shin Spy, because they get the monster no matter what. This is just more for more options as well. Mainly I use Chaos Dragon, but I just have these in here in case that option presents itself. And then the rest is just some other disruption and outs to stuff that I have. We don't like back row, so 2 Lightning Storm and 1 Feather Duster, because that's a problem for this. Again, Chaos Max or Chaos Dragon can't be targeted or destroyed, but just any back row disruption ends up just being a problem. 2 Droplets. I debated with this for a little bit, but 1, I absolutely cannot run Dark Ruler because my opponent not taking damage is a huge problem that defeats the entire purpose of this deck. The problem with this is me having to get rid of resources to be able to negate stuff on the board, but just in some situations I really don't care about that. My hands will be really bricky anyway, So just not necessarily unbricking myself, but using those dead resources to negate stuff is just really good. And I need stuff like this to be able to get rid of problematic cards on the field. The one Call by the Grave, because we don't like hand traps. The one Instant Fusion, because we are running Millennium Eyes Restrict in the extra deck. That's pretty much the only card I ever find myself making, so being able to make yourself immune to a lot of hand traps is just too good to pass up. So that's why I'm running these two. And the only two traps I'm running, I am running 2 Infinite Impermanents, because I need as much disruption as I possibly can. That is the main deck. That is 42 cards. For the main deck, I just couldn't cut it down to 40. I feel like everything in there is absolutely necessary for the ratios that I'm at. And that's about it. Let's get into the extra deck. Again, I almost never use anything in the extra deck, but I'll just show you what I'm using. One Twin Burst, because if I ever find myself somehow ending up with a, alternative and a Blue Eyes on the field, if I sacrifice 2 Incantations for a Blue Eyes, and then I also got alternative on the field. This is just, 2 extra attacks, why not? And then our Instant Fusion target, Millennium Eyes Restrict. This is just to help stop hand traps, because we do not like hand traps being used against us. Then essentially after this, I'm running a couple Link Monsters, but a bunch of rank 8s, because Chaos Max, Chaos Dragon, and the Blue Eyes are all rank 8s, so if I ever find myself being able to go into the extra deck, I just gave myself a few options with that. We have Tachyon Dragon, we have Dingirsu, we have 2 Sky Prison, we have Spriggan Ship, and we have Draglubion, Pain Gainer, and Zeus. Just if I ever find myself able to go into Zeus, attack with one of them, overlay it with Pain Gainer, and then slap Zeus on top of it, and then the rest of these are just if I ever need a rank 8 option. I almost never find myself doing these, mainly because of the Incantations, but just Chaos Max is usually better because it's harder to out than a lot of these, so it ends up being more problematic and more disrupting than anything else I could use with that. And then just some of the links I'm running. Link Spider. You can generally do everything you need with this deck in 4 summons or under, but if I do what I do and become a bad player and overextend and they Nibiru me, I just want to get rid of the token. Heretic Seal, just because there's some dragons in here. If I can ever make that and I feel that that's going to be good in the matchup, I have it. And then just some Nightmare cards. I'm running Cerberus, Phoenix, and Unicorn. I just wanted to fill up the rest of the extra deck because, why not have 15 cards in the extra deck, especially when I'm running Pot of Extravagance. That is it for the extra deck. I almost never use any card in it except for Millennium Eyes Restrict, but I digress. On to the side deck. Only a few changes in here just because of the deck I'm running. Still 3 Droll, because we don't like Drytron. It's, self-explanatory. That hits a lot of matchups. 2 Nibiru, because punishing overextension is good. I did throw 2 Lancia in here because there's increasingly a lot of stuff in our locals that banishes stuff, so punishing that is really good. And then just some Graveyard Disruption, 2 Bell, and 2 Meister. And that's pretty much it for the monster hand traps. The rest is, I guess, either going first up, because Chaos Max pretty much cannot go first. So I put in 3 summon limit. I can generally do anything I need to in under 2 summons. Like if I have Chalice Slime and then I ritual summon Chaos Max or Chaos Dragon, I can do that in under 2 summons. So I don't necessarily care about that. That just hurts a lot of stuff at my local. So I just had to run it because I needed a going first option. This deck cannot go first. And then the 1 red reboot. I considered main decking this, but I'm not always up against trap decks off the off the blind dice roll. So I just decided to go ahead and side deck this. If I shut off traps and then I Chaos Max them to death, that's just funny. And that is pretty much it. I'm really looking forward to this because this is, again, the first ever deck that I ever built. I feel like I've gotten a little bit better with deck building, so we'll just see how that ends up going. Thank you for tuning in, and have a good rest of the day.